السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ثم ما بعد. So I'm not going to talk about my topic. Just want to let you know ahead of time so everybody's okay with that, inshallah. It is a wonderful topic, but in these kinds of opportunities, I'd rather get some specific messages across that I think are relevant to youth, that I don't get to talk about in other forums, inshallah ta'ala. So these 20 minutes, maybe at the most 25 minutes or so that I have, I'm going to talk about just some lessons from the Ashab al-Kahf. I'll just highlight some things and just discuss some things that I feel very strongly are missing in Muslim discourse, especially that has to do with our youth. The first thing I want to talk about is a cultural onslaught. The first thing we'll take from the people of the cave, Ashab al-Kahf, is that they drew themselves away from a dominant culture. They pulled themselves away. When they saw that it was overwhelmingly evil, and they had no way of escaping that culture, and actually the verdict was given that they were to be executed as a result of their faith, they pulled themselves out of that culture. And one of the most important things to draw from that for ourselves is until our life is in danger, we have to engage in society. It is only when their life was actually threatened that these young men left society, that they withdrew towards a cave because their actual lives were in danger. Muslims cannot have the attitude that we're not going to engage in society and somehow everything outside is a fitna and we have to protect ourselves and we have to shelter ourselves, and the only way that we're going to keep our faith is if we keep guarding ourselves, totally shunning ourselves from the outside world. This attitude actually means we've already accepted defeat, because at the end of the day that attitude means defense. That attitude means that everybody else is attacking us and we've got to save ourselves and pull back and stay strong within our fort, etc. But the entire idea of Islam being the truth, the imagery that Allah presents of Islam, Allah Azza wa Jal says, that Allah hurls نَقْذِفُ بِالْحَقِّ عَلَى الْبَاطِلِ فَيَدْمَغُهُ, that we hurl the truth against falsehood. Allah gives the image of truth being a weapon and falsehood being the victim of that weapon running away, and the truth attacking falsehood, and falsehood being on the run. So who's on the offense and who's on the defense? Who's actually questioning the wrong that's happening in society and engaging with it and saying we're here to change things, and who's actually supposed to go into hiding and supposed to hide behind shelter? That's supposed to be falsehood. So the mentality of the Muslims generally, especially of Muslim youth, isn't supposed to be, I have to save myself, but actually I have to engage and I have to help the world become a better place. That's the first thing I want to get across. The second thing I want to get across is Allah Azza wa Jal usually does not do this. He usually does not highlight the age of people when He talks about them. He doesn't normally do that. We don't learn the age of Musa alayhi salam when he went to the mountain. We don't learn about that. Very rarely does He do that. Like for example, Allah Azza wa Jal talks about Musa alayhi salam when he became a mature adult, or when Yusuf alayhi salam became a mature adult. وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ. Their ages are talked about. But usually the people's age is not mentioned, as though it's a non-factor. But when it came to the people of the cave, the sleepers of the cave as they're called, Ashabul Kahf, Allah Azza wa Jal said, إِنَّهُمْ فِتْيَةٌ. Even though without the word fitya, the sentence is complete. إِنَّهُمْ فِتْيَةٌ. Or إِنَّهُمْ آمَنُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ. Without the word fitya, the sentence is completely fine. Allah Azza wa Jal mentions, no doubt about it, they were in fact young people. آمَنُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ, that believed in their master. Allah Azza wa Jal wants us to know their age, wants us to know that they're young. Because especially when you are young, you are more susceptible to follow the culture around you. You're more susceptible to accept the pressures of society. You're more susceptible to want to be like everybody else. Why wouldn't you be? I mean, it is when you go to high school that you start feeling the pressure of being different from other people. It's when people start saying things to you that make you feel like, man, why am I so different than everybody else? And then you feel the pressure to wanting to dress like the other, to look like the other, to talk like the other, So even if you're religious and you want to grow a beard or something, it's the pencil thing. It's a little more hip. It's a little more, it fits in better, And we start assimilating ourselves more and more at that age, at a younger age. These young men are highlighted as people who understood the values of their faith and where the faith and culture clash against each other, and they're going to hold on to their faith no matter what. And if time comes that they can't even live anymore, like holding on to Islam for them meant losing their life, then they'd rather not even live in that society. They'd rather just leave that society. They chose a cave over that, subhanAllah. The idea I'm trying to present here is youth are actually the pillars of strength, not the weakness. So many conferences being held about the problems of the youth, the fitna of the youth. We have to save our youth. No, the youth have to save us. It's the other way. You guys have to realize the position you're in. You have to realize the responsibility that's set on you. I'm happy that Sheikh Umar talked about, vision and setting goals, because that's really what I wanted to talk to you about in these 10-15 minutes, is vision and setting goals. I am personally offended by Muslim youth who go to college and they're in their junior year, senior year, and they're like, yeah, I'm majoring in blah, 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 but I'm not sure. I don't know. You ask a student, what are you going to do in school? I'm going to do accounting. Why are you doing it? I don't know. Just, I guess. What is that? You have no sense of direction? Not in deen and not in dunya. Not in deen and not in dunya. And this is unacceptable. Muslim youth have to have a very clear sense of direction, a very clear sense of purpose. And if you don't have it, you better start working on finding it now. What are you good at? And how are you going to put it to the service of Allah's deen? And I say aim really, really high. Aim extremely high. Allah has put us in an incredible opportunity in the United States. So many Muslim youth around the world don't have this opportunity that we have here in the United States. I'm talking about what we can do for our deen and what we can accomplish even in terms of dunya, and how we can use the dunya to do more for our deen. If we're a people of vision. Everybody else that's going to school and going to college is thinking about where they're going to get a job, how much money they're going to save, where they're going to get their first apartment, what their first car is going to be, when are they going to get married. Those are the thoughts of everybody else, because that's the highest they can think. They can't think past that. They don't know there's anything beyond that. But the Muslim youth, the one that has vision, the one that has purpose, says, I am going to graduate, and yes, I will get a job, and I will get a place, and I will get a car, and I will get married, and all of that. But you know what? I have bigger purpose. I'm going to use my career to do something huge. I have this idea that I think will really benefit the ummah. I have this idea that will really further the message of Islam. I have this idea that will really benefit society, people in general. And I'm going to run with that idea. I'm going to do something towards that. And I'm going to use my education and my inspiration from deen and combine those two things, and here's how I'm going to accomplish it. Here's my 5-year plan. Here's what I see myself doing in 10 years. Here's what I see myself doing in 15 years. Goals for yourself. Targets for yourself. You have to set those. You can't just wing it. It doesn't work. Then we don't accomplish anything. The famous Arabic piece of poetry I teach every year at my campus to the students, one of the first things I teach them is وَمَنْ يَتَهَيَّبْ صُعُودَ الْجِبَالِ يَعِشَبَةَ الدَّهْرِ بَيْنَ الْحُفَرِ. Whoever fears climbing the mountain stays forever in the ditch. Aim high. And so in these few minutes, I just want to talk to you practically about just a couple of groundwork, some basic foundational things that will help you aim high, inshallah ta'ala, and help myself aim high. As far as our religious maturity is concerned, every one of us should see ourselves next year, from this Ramadan to next Ramadan, or what Ramadan's already over, so this December to next December, this winter to next winter, how am I going to be a better Muslim? And I'd like to highlight 3 areas. So for those of you that are writing this down, just 3 areas where you want to be able to say to yourself in a tangible way, I'm better off. I've made some progress in 3 areas at least. The first of those areas is worship. The first concern is worship. Has my fajr improved? Am I making Isha and Fajr at least on time perfectly? The guys, am I waking up for Fajr and making it to the masjid? Make it a goal. Maybe you're not doing it every day, but set a goal that you're going to accomplish that this year. More and more and more, you're going to be able to get it. And I'm going to go to sleep earlier. Oh my God, youth, you can't accomplish anything in life if you don't go to sleep early. I'm telling you, you know those deep conversations you have over hookah at night? Yeah, that's not reviving the ummah. Let me just tell you now. That was deep, bros. Good talk, good talk. Then you wake up at 10 a.m. to pray Fajr. You know, the ummah sure gonna revive through that. There was some deep discussions last night over some shawarma and some hookah. You know, go to sleep on time. Go to sleep on time. Wake up early. Get your Fajr right. Get your Quran in the morning. Inna Quran al-Fajri kana mashhudan. Get your Quran in order. We talk about changing the world. We can't even change our day yet. We can't even change our day yet. When you change your day, then you can change your year. That means you can change your life. But you start with your day. There's a daily goal. My mornings have to become more productive in terms of worship. In terms of worship. Part of worship I would include, especially those of you that are people of vision, your vision will come, your inspiration will come with the Quran. And the Quran has to be in your heart. You have to have a project of memorizing as much Quran as you can. As little at a time as possible. If you can handle more, take on more. But every day, Fajr and a little bit of memorization, a little bit of recitation, and that's what starts your day. And I can guarantee you, if you do that in your life, even if you do that this week once, if you do it once, you will notice the difference the rest of the day. You will notice that day has more barakah in it, you're getting more accomplished. The doors around you are opening, opportunities are coming, your mind is clearer, creative ideas are coming to you. You'll see Allah brings those blessings to you, opens those doors that are otherwise closed. So the first of how many areas did I say? I said 3 areas, and the first of those areas is worship. That's the first area I'm going to improve in. The second area that you really have to work on, that you really, really have to be concerned with, is knowledge. And how am I going to grow in my knowledge this year? And by the way, I separate knowledge from worship. I separate the two. Because some people focus so much on knowledge and their worship is terrible. They don't worship. They think their knowledge is compensating them for it. So they're studying lots of tafsir and they know a lot of tajweed, but they don't even pay attention in salat. I mean, what are you doing? What's that knowledge for? I'm mentioning these things in priority. First thing was worship. The second thing is knowledge. And I don't mean become a alim and get a degree in sharia. Those of you that want to do that, congratulations. I'm talking to everybody here. Not everybody here is going to be a mufti or a alim or whatever. But you have to be educated Muslims. You have to be, there needs to be some minimal level of education in your Islam. And my recommendation for you for that is that by the end of the year, the coming year, you've studied at least a couple of things. You've studied the seerah, the life of the Prophet ﷺ, once. And you should do it every year once. And actually you should read a different source on the seerah every year for the next few years. And really study it. So if you take one book don't ask me which book you should read on the seerah, read all of them. But take one at a time. Take one and go through it 1 year. Then go again to the seerah again another year. Then again another year. And you know what? Because that is the life of that man, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is our vision, is our inspiration. So you have to keep going back to it. That's a part of your education. And it'll give you perspective and it will open doors for reflection and contemplation for you. That study of seerah in and of itself. There are wonderful resources on that available, and I don't think you'll have any trouble finding them, inshallah ta'ala. At the same time, you have to make substantial gains. In that same year, you have to make substantial gains in your Quran. I'm still in the area of knowledge. First area was worship, second area is knowledge, right? In this knowledge, you have to make some substantial gains in your Quran, which, let's just say you decided this year you're going to try to memorize